staff that I have. My name is Diane Malone. I'm a department manager for Waste Regulatory Compliance Program. And today I'm going to do a presentation on the storage tank program. And I have three positions. This is more a federally funded program, and the fees and tariff that it selects also is part of the funding that we have that supports the administrative staff. And I have Warren Roan, Tanya Yazi, and Nathaniel's no longer with us, but that position is currently vacant. This is the organizational chart for Navajo EPA, and we are over here, the last section, and under that section here is the waste regulatory compliance. I have underground storage tank, leaking underground storage tank, Superfund program, resource conservation and recovery program. And those are four major programs that we have. And this morning there's two programs that presented their program. I'll do the one for underground storage tank. Warren and Tanya are doing their inspections on several facilities this week, so they're not here, and I'm presenting on their behalf. This is our organization that we have under Waste Regulatory, and we have leaking storage tank and storage tank, and support staff that I have over here behind this building, so that's where our office is at. The purpose of the UST program is to prevent petroleum release from occurring at storage tank facilities on the Navajo Nation by ensuring facility comply with the release of detection and release prevention requirements mentioned in the Navajo Storage Tank Act of 2012. The Storage Tank Act was signed into law October 29, 1998. It coincides with the U.S. EPA December 22, 1998 mandate requirement for release detection and release prevention. Navajo Nation Storage Tank Act was amended February 13, 2012. And the amendment, it includes delivery prohibition regulation. It also has soil and water cleanup standards. It includes 2005 Energy Policy Act requirement, and include to regulate above ground storage tanks. And this is more of a diagram of what storage tank looks like. And you just see big, huge tanks, and you really don't know what they look like. But it has a lot of dispensers, a lot of pipes going into it, and these are more or less inspected for release during the inspections. Okay, the Navajo Nation Storage Tank Act of 2012 and 40 CFR Part 112 above ground storage tank. The Storage Tank Act requires the following to ensure the facility prevent petroleum release to the environment. Release detection, this is for tanks and line tightness tests. Release prevention, spill and overfill protection and corrosion protection. And insurance for pollution liability, and proper installation plan. And these are where the inspection comes in, where the staff goes out and they look for and test for fitness tests and line, and also look into the facility or the spill bucket, where overflow protection and corrosion control. Staff goes also to the facility into the management, and they ask for insurance policies, whether they have pollution liability, and also have some type of a liability contingency plan for the facility. Those are some of the things, majority of the things that staff goes out on inspection, and they ask the facility management for these items. When there's a violation issued, they usually, like the first issue, you get a notice of violation, and I forget how many days, but 30 days, I believe, to make those corrections. And the staff goes out there again to see if the correction has been made by facility. If there's no correction made by facility, we now have what we call red tagging. This means that we can put a red tag on the facility where the fuel goes in, so when we notify the fuel company that delivers the gas that not to deliver. Until the correction is made, then we get notified, or sometimes we go out there and take the tags back off. But that's one of the red tagging that we have, that we started using as of last year to bring facility and companies into compliance. Under Navajo Nation, there's 99 registered underground storage tank facilities. There's 2 new proposed facilities. There's approximately 150 underground storage tanks, 30 registered above ground storage tanks facility, 2 tanks located at each above ground storage tank facility on average. Navajo EPA is still collecting inventory information. High UST compliance rate since the start of the program. You know, it went to date. Compliance rate is pretty high, I guess. And then Navajo EPA has the largest tank universe in the Indian country. And I believe this is what Henry showed this morning, and this is more of a location of all the tanks. Some of them are abandoned sites, some of the tanks were removed, and some tanks have contaminated soils and groundwater, and these are all the inventories that we select since the beginning of the program. And as for annual UST compliance inspection rate, you know, back 2002 is when we started, and it sort of went up. I think it looks like 2004 it was way up there until 2009. I'm not sure what happened here, and it picked up again. But as of 2 years ago, it's sitting up there, and it is probably now maybe 93% rate. Here's the history of the storage tank program. Before 2004, Navajo EPA did a joint inspection with US EPA. Notice of inspection were issued by US EPA. There was no field citation. The inspections were more of a technical assistance to the facility, and there was really lack of enforcement. After 2004, the federal field citation there's agreement that was established. Notice of inspection and field citation to non-compliant UST facility were issued. Tribal and federal roles were done. Navajo was always the lead. US EPA assisted. A unique field citation was formed between Region 9 and Navajo Nation. And penalty fines captured attention of the facility. Violation identified during the inspection, newspaper publication. In 2015, US EPA and Navajo Nation entered into MOU, and this is this year. We're going to start using this MOU. And this is where US EPA will deter the tribal law regarding the underground storage tank, meaning that we will be using Navajo Nation law. EPA will be the lead on all UST inspection as tribal inspectors. This will allow underground storage tank facility on the Navajo Nation to meet the requirement in the 2005 Energy Policy Act. And then funding will be consistent from EPA. And this is the inspection form that the Navajo Nation staff inspectors use on facilities. And this is a notice of inspection. It's when the staff goes out and they do inspection, and they make comments on different items that they see and recommendation. We have currently today we have a proposed legislation, proposed penalty regulation. And this is in reference to the MOU that we entered with US EPA. When we do inspection, we use federal citations, and we submit the inspection forms to US EPA, and they did more or less issued violation. Violators paid their penalties fee to US EPA. Since this new MOU was signed, what we requested was that we will use the Navajo Nation law, and if there are penalties, if there is fine, Navajo Nation will be the one that will be issuing those citations, and any penalty fees will be going to the nation. And we are proposing to amend our regulations to specify that when we issuing fines and collecting fees. Ability for Navajo Nation to issue tribal citation to the non-compliant storage facility. Monetary fine will stay on the Navajo Nation. Funds will be used for programs, administrative costs to continue prevention program. So this is a form, again, that we used. And here's staff doing their inspection. I don't know if you can see the pictures. That's Tanya on the left here, and Warren on the side. And one of the programs that's listed under UST is that we do compliance training with the operators and owners. And these owners, they go through the training on what they need to look out for and what the inspection will cover on their inspection. And they participate in the inspection after the training on what they see on their facility. Storage tank trust fund. This is where our special revenue comes from. These are money that are collected from tanks and tariff fees. They are deposited into the trust fund. The monies are used for tank removals, removal of abandoned UST, and clean up contaminated contaminated site on the Navajo Nation. The Navajo Nation Storage Act amended on February 13, 2012. These are what the amendment includes. These are tank registration fee, the annual tank fees. The tariff is 1 cent per gallon of gasoline purchases. Storage tank removal, installation, and cleanup monitoring fee, $150 per day per owner. These are amended regulations. And these are the tariff fees that were collected, and from 1999 to 2014. Our program goal is the need to support from the 23rd Navajo Nation Council to lobby the Congress to continue to provide federal funds to the Navajo EPA UST fund, and to approve the Storage Tank Act proposed penalty regulation to promote the sovereignty. So, one of the cases that we've seen in rag tagging was out in Tuba City area. One of the facilitator has been in violation, and they didn't really make any corrections, and it went on maybe for 3 years. And this was when the EPA was overseeing the penalty fees and the enforcement. And since we took over last year, no correction has been made. And Warren, with the help of DOJ, I think Paul Spurhan, we did a red tagging on the facility. And it didn't take long, maybe within 3 days, the guy came in and he took us to a hearing to fight the red tagging that we really don't have the legal means to shut them down. But we took him to a hearing, but he lost in the hearing, and he is now in compliance. But another facility that he owns is in violation again, so they got another violation, I think this fall. I'm not sure where we're at on that. So, but in red tagging is more of a way to get a facility to really comply, because that's where their money comes from. And when we want to do that, we make sure that DOJ is informed, and we make sure that the community or a community leader, especially the delegates or the chapter official, are aware of what we're going to do, because that was something that we don't want to interfere with the fuel that they purchase at the community level. And we've really never had received any complaint from the communities. They supported what we wanted to do. So that's the storage tank program. And Henry, you want to add anything? You missed the
I know, I missed the whole presentation. No, not really.
Any questions?
I got a question. Like your natural gas, is that under this program?
Just the gasoline from the pumping station and the fuel. Natural gas is not included, and diesel is not included.
How about if like a convenience store abandoned, can they just leave? Can, like, let's say their business runs out, the business doesn't do business no more, and they have gas pump, but they have tanks underneath, and they just leave. Can they just leave, or do they have to clean that up before they leave?
They have to clean it up before they leave, but we find a lot of that abandoned. And that's where the leaking underground storage tank have come in and removed some of the tanks from our special revenue. But if we know who the potential owners are, we can go after them and try to get them to do something about it. And that's where your liability insurance covers. There's a certain lineage, and I think Henry covered that regarding pick and run. Can you kind of cover that?
Yeah, just for abandoned site, if there are no responsible owners, then we do all the work and remove those things. But if they're responsible parties are still there operating, then they can clean it.
And there's a site, a pick and run. There's owners that are there. These are all mom and pop Navajo owners, and then they sort of started the facility. Then somebody took over, and they had insurance, and we more or less took them to court to clean up the site. DOJ did, but I think this is where we really do need assistance from the court, because they don't really know the background on how the insurance works or how we want them to enforce the Navajo laws that we have. It's sort of, I'm not really sure what happened to it. The court hasn't tell us whether the insurance company that covered this pick and runs going to clean up the site. But there's several insurance that were involved, and they don't believe that they are responsible to make any to do any damage claim or claim that the Navajo Nation has went against for enforcement and cleanup. So that's still pending, and we don't know what's going to happen to it, or don't even know if it's still ongoing. So it's still a case, and Paul with DOJ is handling that with Jill Grant.
I guess my only concern was that like if they're abandoned, these tanks, and they still have some fuel or something in there, and it's located near a water well. I mean, I don't want that to leak and then get into the water table or anything.
So I think most of the sites that we know have been inventoried. The priority is that if it's located to a waterway, and Henry did cover that. There's several, I think there's like 3 in the Shiprock area, and that's right along the river there. There's a more like a priority that if they're located in a situation like that, and depending on the geological and hydrogeology setting, and more prone to environmental contamination or plume movement. And I think most of them are taken care of, right? Yeah. So we referred that to US EPA, and that's been taken care of.